So hello, everyone. I was going to give a little quick overview of what a specific aims page is and what specific aims are. It's something that you first sort of learn about as you learn about what grants are, and specific aims and aims pages are really specific to grants in research. And so often it's something you just first learn as you go. And our hope here today is that you get a little bit more insight into the process, and hopefully you will see how important the aims page is to this whole process. So what is an aims page? An aims page is one-page outline of a research proposal. And this is your one page that sort of encapsulates the whole project that you're proposing to do. And then the aims are sort of your major activities to accomplish your overall goal. There can be anywhere from 2 to 4 aims in a research proposal. For training projects or training grants like an NRSA, you might usually see 2 if it's a 2-year or 3-year funding period. If it's a 5-year project, you might see 3 or 4 on the higher end. So the ideal is that with these major activities in our area of science, that you've designed the experiments in those aims to be meaningful no matter what, and to help you know more and understand about the problem that you're researching, even if the hypotheses aren't supported. So you can design experiments so that even a null result gives you information to design your next experiment, and then so on and so forth. So that's the idea. Okay, so you have major activities, and we'll talk about that, and that those major activities are composed of studies that have experiments that have predictions that are going to lead to answers. And at the end of the day, then you've learned something about the project and the problem that your project is aimed at. Okay, so why do I have a picture of Shark Tank, which is about business proposals? So in Shark Tank, teams that are designing, or a person who's designing a new business, proposes their business to investors. So they come on the show, they come up with an idea, they pitch their idea, they show some preliminary evidence that this is an idea of interest, it solves a problem that's out there that doesn't exist in the way they're doing it, to try to convince these investors to invest in their product and support them. So the reason I have this on here is that you have to think a little bit about that in terms of how you're thinking about your aims page, because grants are competitive. Many people are applying and not everyone gets them. So you're competing for attention among reviewers to say, for a given problem, there's a need. Here's research that would help address that need. I'm an expert in this area. Here's some preliminary evidence that I have an idea that if we work on this more, you fund us to be able to work on this more, that we can come up with some more information to then keep leading us forward. So you have this one page to capture the attention of your reviewers and anyone making funding decisions, really, that here's your project, it deserves some funding to work on this. Okay, so this sort of leads into then why this aims page matters. It's your one page that encapsulates the problem. It defines the problem and the promise of your proposal to then set the stage for the rest of the grant. So this is the first page of the proposal. So everyone will read it first when they are about to read what could either be a 6-page or a 12-page proposal. And it's that first page, because it encapsulates the whole project, it sort of scaffolds sort of as a blueprint or a roadmap for what the reader is about to read, that are all the details of your project. So just like when you're learning a lot of new information, if you have that bird's eye view or that roadmap of where to put the pieces of information, it all sinks in more easily. Same thing with an aims page. If you have a clear roadmap, clear problem, clear activities that address the problem, then as readers are reading the rest of the grant, they can sort of put that piece in mind and put those pieces in play and really see how it all comes together. And again, it's the one page that everyone reads. So as you'll learn today, there are 3 primary reviewers that read the grant in detail. You of course want to capture their attention because they're scoring your grant and presenting your grant to everyone else in the panel. But then there's a larger group, which is in the picture down here, of the panel. And that large group does not read the whole grant. they usually just flip through it and they focus on the aims page to understand what the major activities are and see if it's in their area of expertise, and then sort of get a sense of what the project is and get a feel of their excitement. So the picture in the middle here is really then that the goal of this page is to capture the imagination and the excitement of what the project is, and to use this page effectively to do that. So what is the structure of an aims page that you can look out for that's very common? So again, defining the problem. So what is it could be a gap in knowledge, something that we don't know about that's within the scope of the problem. So this gap is going to define some need, some area of research or some approach in a research area that needs to be taken to advance the field. That's going to define some sort of overall objective for this specific grant. And then that objective will define like a central prediction. So you might have an overall scope of the grant. For example, the grant I'm writing right now, the overall objective is to understand the importance of the stress response and how physical activity would benefit the brain. So our central prediction is that people that have not only a response, but a strong recovery of response to the sympathetic system would have a stronger benefit from physical activity on the brain. And then our aims are designed as different specific activities to address that central prediction. So these specific aims, again, are major activities that then have specific predictions underneath them that, when answered, would answer the question overall, or at least give you more information. And then you have expected outcomes from your aims that then should answer your overall objective by giving you information about your overall hypotheses, which should work its way back to fulfilling this area of need, and again, then giving you more information about the problem. Okay. So this is something that's important to appreciate as when you're first entering the area of writing grants, is that it's very tempting to be logical in a sequential way. So that for the first aim, to test the relation between A and B, and then the second aim to test whether this other variable is a mediator. But then importantly, what can fall apart there is that if the first aim fails and A and B are not related, you've lost value in your other aims that are testing this other variable as a mediator. Now, from a funding perspective, that's a flaw, because the funding agency is funding the whole project. So if a third of your budget is towards this aim that then doesn't mean anything after one aim is completed, you've lost some value and you have to repropose, and that's really not what they're looking for. They're looking for 3, or whatever the aims are, 2 or 3 sort of different perspectives or different categories or branches of major activities that sort of can work modularly, so be independent of each other in some sort of logical way, so that they can each be completed, and even if one fails, that the other 2 can still be meaningful to answer the overall question. So this is a check you would want to do anytime you're reading an aims page, is check whether if one aim failed, would you still be interested, or would it still make sense to pursue the other aims? So one analogy you can think about is if your overall project is to put on a dinner party, and maybe the theme of that party is the scope in your specific research field. So that would be your overall objective. Then you might have different tasks to prepare for that party. So you could get the drinks and figure out what drinks you're going to have. You could get the food recipes and figure out what food you're going to have. And then you could figure out what music you're going to have. You could have Dan Turnell as your lead act in the party. So the idea here, though, is all of these pieces are contributing to your overall objective of the party. If any one thing didn't work out, you'd still have your party, and you'd still have the different pieces. But the point is that they're not so interdependent on each other that one failing compromises the whole objective. Okay, so that's something to be thinking about, and that's part of the puzzle piecing, the puzzle process of sort of putting together a strong aims page. Okay. So that's all I have. really then hopefully now you see what a names page is. Its goal is to capture imagination and understand the logic and really get excited about if these names are completed, what that would mean. And again, you're competing for attention from other people that are proposing their projects, and also with just the whole dynamics of the review process itself being a busy and tiring meeting. So anything as scientists that gets you excited can really sort of be an exciting piece of the experience. And as you've all probably experienced, when someone's presenting work or talking about a project that they're really excited about, that's contagious, and that is something that you want to have in the room where people are feeling the excitement of the primary reviewers and sort of can really get behind the applicant. And this is even more magnified now that many review panels are on Zoom. So this Ames page is really your opportunity to sort of encapsulate your excitement and for them to give you a strong review.